Scott, this is a beautiful plate of vegan eggless meringues. How did you make them?
Well, first off, we didn't use Aquafaba. We used an ingredient called VersaWhip, and you're going to find out today on WTF. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Scott Guerin.
And I'm Janie Wang, the owner of Modernist Pantry. Today, Scott and I are going to be talking about an ingredient called VersaWhip. And you may have already heard about VersaWhip because it is commonly referred to as an egg white replacer, but that's a bit of a misnomer. So today we are here to basically clarify what is VersaWhip and how do you really use it. So Scott, let's get into a little bit about VersaWhip. What is it made of, and what are some of the common applications?
So VersaWhip is a protein from soybeans. So it's just derived out of that soybean, and it allows you to make vegan meringues or meringues out of any flavored liquid.
Okay. And a lot of people think that they can just toss a VersaWhip into where they normally do an egg white. Is that the case?
No, because it doesn't have the exact same properties as egg white. So
Okay.
you can't just take this and it's not a 100% perfect egg white replacer.
Right.
It replaces egg whites in great things like meringues, buttercreams, things like that. But you can't make scrambled eggs out of this and water.
Okay, so that's one thing that, we have people call in and be like, you just toss it into a dish and it didn't work. It's probably not the right application in that case.
Yes.
And some of the other common uses for it, and I think we covered this on the previous WTF, is foaming. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's great because, like I said, you can turn a meringue or any flavored liquid into a meringue, and you don't have to worry about acidity. A lot of these ingredients, a lot of hydrocolloids that we have, you have to worry about the acidity, you have to use a buffering agent. This doesn't care. This VersaWhip will take balsamic vinegar, lemon juice. You can put it right in there, and you can make a really beautiful meringue. And it's great because if you wanted to make like a vegan lemon meringue pie and add some lemon juice to your meringue on the pie itself, you can have a really powerful lemon flavor in there, and you don't have to worry about it knocking it down. The one thing you don't want to use with almost any foaming agent is fats.
Okay. And why do we know why it doesn't work with fat, or a little bit about is there something that does work with fat? We're getting a little bit off track, but that's okay. Short detour into foaming.
Well, it's great because that's what this does. This is the primary function. It is foaming, and it doesn't work with fats because this is a surfactant for water. So it creates those bubbles and it creates a network so you can have the foam. And generally, fats will break the surface tension, science for you, and knock down the foam immediately. So we'll actually talk a little bit about that when we get into talking about our vegan buttercream that we have down here and how we can kind of help avoid that. But yes, so you want to use it with liquids, and there is something, and we're going to have an episode on it. Monodiglycerides, you can foam fats, but that is a whole nother topic, and we will get to it, we promise, folks.
Yeah, so in a couple of minutes here, Scott's going to be demoing how to make the meringue. But before we get to that, just to kind of finish up foaming, I know that right before we started shooting, we're talking about the equipment that you use to foam different things. And you had mentioned specifically that for VersaWhip, you want to just do it in the stand mixer, which I did not know because, I like to use the Magic Air Maker for pretty much everything. So,
yeah, you probably could use a Magic Air Maker, but it's not going to make, you really want that structure of foam, and it really makes a really densely populated foam with these little bubbles, and that's really going to come from using a stand mixer because it whips. It allows it to whip. The other ones will just, you blow an air bubble through the Magic Air Maker, and it's going to just hold onto it, say with like a foam magic. So those are really large bubbles. These are really dense, tightly knit bubbles, and using the stand mixer is the best property for this. You can use other things, but I would just suggest if you're going to be making a meringue, use the stand mixer, just like you would egg whites.
Okay, so if you do want to learn more about foaming, we recommend you go and check out our WTF specifically on foaming, and we also do have a chart that's going to basically compare all the different foaming agents, their applications, and also the equipment that you would use in order to use them properly. So, those are all resources that are available to you on our blog. So let's get right into right now here. So we have a plate of, gorgeous, gorgeous meringues. Do you want to talk about, like, where do you want to start?
So first thing I'm going to just turn on the mixer here because I really want to get between medium and stiff peaks just to kind of show.
And before we turn it on, let's talk about what is in the stand mixer right now.
Sure.
Okay.
So I made here a Italian meringue out of VersaWhip, a little bit of xanthan gum and a little bit of calco gel because I really want a sturdy meringue for a very long time.
So if and this is kind of one of the things that I've also learned this week. I learned a lot on the WTFs. Is that what's the difference between an Italian meringue and a French meringue?
So a French meringue will just have the sugar sprinkled directly in while the meringue is going, and the Italian meringue you're going to heat the sugar to about 240 degrees Fahrenheit before you pour it in hot, and then it's going to kind of knock it down and then really make a really beautiful glossy meringue, which you'll see here.
Okay, wonderful.
So I'm going to turn it on and just kind of get it going. Make sure. The best part is if it does start to deflate, you can remix it and it will come back to life. While we're doing that, this is what it looks like out of the package. So as you can see, it is a yellow powder that you're just going to use about 1% to the total weight of the liquid that you're trying to make a meringue out of. And it's such a small amount. That's one other thing people would probably try and use a lot to make, if they were attempting to make like a scrambled egg out of an egg replacer, but you're using such a small amount. It's almost like a pinch to the amount of liquid that you're using. So yes, it is good for meringues, not good for making much other things. And then once we're done with this, we took it, we put it into a piping bag, we piped a bunch of shapes onto either a sill pad, a baking sheet, whatever it is. If you don't have a dehydrator at home, just toss it in the oven on a pilot light overnight. You can put it up maybe to like the warming setting just for a little bit. It'll dry the outside. The center will just be a little soft, so it makes a very traditional type meringue without having to be made from egg whites.
Right. And because this is a vegan meringue, I'm just gonna have to scream because I'm a soft speaker. So let's see whether we can hear me. So because this is a vegan meringue, and typically people say, well, I just use Aquafaba to make vegan meringues, and it works. But then you really get that garbanzo flavor in there. Does the VersaWhip, because it's made from soy, does the VersaWhip add a soy flavor? Does it taste like soy meringues?
No. So the VersaWhip does not have a flavor if you use it in the correct amount. Obviously, if you use anything in a very large amount, you're going to get some sort of odd flavor. But if you're using it in the 1% to the total weight of the liquid, you're not going to get any flavor. So it's not going to taste like beans, it's not going to taste like soy, it's not going to taste like anything. It's just going to have a very neutral flavor, so you can put vanilla or just sugar, and you can make something taste really good. So I'm going to turn this down, and we can pop it up here and just kind of show. So it's about medium. You can see really how nice it is. A beautiful glossy meringue.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Right. And then you can take this, you can make an abundance of things. You can dry it, like we showed. You can toast it as well because it does have that sugar content. So if you were making something like baked Alaska, or you're making something like a lemon meringue pie, it still looks exactly the same, tastes exactly the same. You're just making it out of VersaWhip.
Okay, that's wonderful. And these are kind of like, these were ones that we did yesterday, and they're kind of like nice and crunchy.
Yeah, about 20 hours in the dehydrator. If you're using an oven, it's going to take a lot less.
Okay.
But you just take it, and we can see right here, they're beautiful, they're glossy.
Yep,
right?
Very glossy.
And then you can snap them, and you can make all sorts of different shapes. These are a little bit more modern dessert kind of shapes, but then you can pipe them in really beautiful designs, rosettes and S's. And
they do taste great. Like there's zero like soy flavor in this at all, which is really nice. It's
completely neutral, just has that nice texture and a beautiful color. It's perfectly white.
Yep. And so this recipe, it will be on the blog, so it'll be available anytime. And we also have a second little dish here. What's this, Scott?
So that is a buttercream. So we took a store-bought vegan butter, and we're kind of working on a vegan butter of ourselves.
It's a teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser there. But so we have a store-bought vegan butter. You want to make sure that butter is extremely cold, and also after you're done making your meringue here, you want to make sure that this is very cold before you start adding it in. Like I said, with that butter, the fat will start to break the surface tension of those bubbles, and it's going to knock it down a little bit.
Okay.
But you're going to be able to mix in that nice butter, and then you're going to make a really beautiful vegan buttercream.
Yeah, and this will probably go great on like cakes, desserts, you know, a macaroon, or really anything. Right?
Yeah, you can refrigerate it. You can hold it at room temperature as well, and it's not going to split or break.
That's wonderful. Okay, and this recipe we're also putting on the blog.
Yes, yeah, we'll have that recipe ready for you on the blog. Awesome. Like I said, store-bought butter, so whatever butter you use, if you're vegan, or you take that and then you can make your own vegan buttercream for your cakes.
Yeah, so, you know, VersaWhip, it's a super versatile ingredient if you are using it, I think, in the appropriate applications. So namely, we find that, you know, making meringues, making these buttercreams, it does great. Do not use it to try to make an omelet. It's not going to work.
Nope.
Yeah. And, you know, we'll have all this information available up on the blog. Is there anything else we want to leave the folks with today?
No, I think we hit pretty much everything that we wanted to talk about.
Cool. Well, so from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie Way.
And I'm Scott Garrett. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you want these great recipes and these awesome ingredients, first you're going to have to like, comment, and subscribe. And then you're going to go to blog.modernistpantry.com where you can find those awesome recipes and you can ask a chef. And to get these great ingredients, go to modernistpantry.com. And until next time, we'll be here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen helping you transform food.